Hey, hello everyone. Bruno here, and welcome to the episode number 7. Yes, the number is 7 of the series From an Idea to an OutSystems app. It's great to be here, and thank you for watching this. What we've been doing so far, it's building this application, this mobile application for that is the Paddle Personal Coach. We have been building the backend. Lately, on the last episodes, we've been building the front end part of the app. We will continue today building that front end. And we are going to do something, some cool stuff today. Okay, so hang in there. Feel free to make questions or comments in the chat. I will be looking for that. I might not answer quite as soon as you write because there's some lag between the transmission and when I get to see the questions. So let's take a look of what we've been doing so far. So we have the application, and as you can see, it's already here, already open. Remember, for those that follow the other episodes, we have these animations while we are opening. And today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the register match details. So when we click, something will happen, right? So we want to register the match details. Looking to our data model, so we have our match, right, that we want to register. So all of this information, we want to register it in this entity. Also, there are more information that we want to register. Now we won't be able to do everything today. So what we will do is we're going to create two different types of inputs. Okay, one are the inputs for when we have a list. Okay, so for example, match type, that will be the first one that we will do. So match type, this can be of 3 different types. The match can be a mix, a regular game, or a tournament. So we're going to create a component that has 3 buttons, or as you will see, it will be variable depending on the configurations. That will allow you to click, and select one of those match types. And also we are going to create one free text component that you can use, to type text. Because some of the questions like, what did you eat before the game? How did you felt physically or even psychologically? That's going to be text, okay? So what we're going to do is to create these 2 different types of components. Okay, let's start with the first one, that is the multiple option. What I'm going to start to do is I'm going to create a new screen. Okay, so this new screen I'm going to add here. I'm going to call this new screen register match templates. Okay, I'm going to call it register match details. Okay, I'm going to create that screen. Also, you cannot be anonymous, right? It's like the home screen that you can only have the role paddle player to access it. Okay, on register match details, let's add here a title. Register match details. Okay, let's look out what is the style that we have in the home. Okay, so you can see it's an heading 3. So here we go for the register match details. Maybe I could define, this, heading 3. Okay, and now what we need to do is let's reuse what we got here. Okay, so let's take at least this part. What's this part here? That's the drawer, so we don't need the drawer. So let's just copy this and let's paste here. Okay, we'll then remove whatever we don't need. So in this case, there's an if here. Okay, let's just put this here. Let's remove this. I don't want this if container. Also, I don't want to have anything inside. And here on the first part, I just want to have, the image. I don't need to have that fade in, and also I also want to have the content here, right? And well, on the image, what I want to do is, instead of having this, you know, animated, I'm just going to create a new class here. That is the final, where I'm going to set up the final position. Okay. And on this one, I'm also going to give, you know, some space here. So let's give it this margin, top base, you know. Okay, so it can give a little bit of space there. And well, now we need to define the final. Okay, so final, it's because if you remember using the animation from the start. Okay, so the final, it's so on the image coach final. Okay, this is going to be the class, and we're going to say that left is going to be 0 because I want it to be totally to the left, right? Also, I want to the transform, I want it to translate to 0. Okay, and on the width, I would just want it to have, you know, 80 pixels, something like this. Okay, cool. So with this, now I have the my coach that it's here. Okay, also what I want is to remove this bottom bar. Okay, I don't need this bottom bar. And also, well, the message here, we have this text on this span, but let's we don't need this for now. So let's say some new content will appear here. Okay, cool. Okay, so we already have the new page, but now what we need to do is, of course, we need to link this to the home page. So when we click, remember, we had this button here, the card button for the register card details. It has that card button on click. Okay, and the card button on click, it's giving me a generic it's a generic function that's just showing me the value there. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to call this one. I'm going to do a new one. Okay, and I'm going to call this on register match details. Click. Okay, and what I'm going to do is going to be as simple as just drag and dropping my destination of the register match details to this. Now what I want to do is the transition that I want, you know, I don't want to have things flipping around, so I just want to do a fade. Okay, so I'm going to do fade. So to Aiden, I don't know if how to say it, say hello there also to you. So let's publish this. Thank you for joining. Let's publish this and let's see what's going to be the result here. So nothing too fancy to start, right? What we will have, it's just a home page, and when we click that register, it's going to open a new page that will appear in the screen with the fading, and it will have, you know, just the coach and the message. Okay, so let's just click here, and it's gonna appear. So there is some things we need to do in this right? It's the message it's appearing too much up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give some space here on the coach message. Yep, I have the padding base here. Let's say that we also want, well, font bold. Let's say we also want, you know, to margin top. I know, let's give it a big space, right? So it appears a little bit more down. And oops, yeah, it is. So this appears a little bit more below. Okay, so now we have this, and what we're going to do next, it's basically create the structure to have the multiple options here. Okay, so this will lead us back to the data model. So let's open the core services module. Okay, and we are going to create here a new kind of question. Okay, so the question that we will create, okay, so we're going to create the question. Okay, so it's going to be a new entity. It's going to be question. Okay, and the question will have the content. Okay, that's going to be the actual question, right? Let's say it's 500. Okay, now we also want to, to be able to give an order, so we know what's going to be the order, okay, of the questions in the sequence. And also we can have the match the question type ID. So let's create a new static, and let's add here the question type. Okay, so the question type, I'm just going to leave here the label as the identifier. Okay, I'm just going to delete the rest. And the question can have two values, okay? One will just going to be like multiple choice, and the other option could be text. Okay. Okay, cool. So now that we have this, we can say that we have now here the question. Oops, the question type ID. Okay, it's an identifier. So let's just publish this real quick. And now that we have this defined, let's create a new question. Okay, let's do a view or edit data. And the first question is, let's say, what kind of match did you play? Right. Now we're going to say the order is the first one. Okay, oh, I'm not being able to use here the question type ID. I need to open debug permissions. Okay, let's see if we can apply this. No, we can't, because we need this. Okay, so let's just discard this. Well, so real quick, I think this is one of the advantages of the platform, right? Let's make this public. Expose read only to no. Okay, I usually don't do this, but it's just because I want to do this really quick. So I'm going to do a really quick back office, just, to create some questions here so we can move on. Okay, so let me just publish this real quick. And after this, I'm just going to create here a new application. Okay, I'm going to create a new application. I'm just going to start from scratch. It's going to be something, I'm just question back office. Okay, oh, this is a red color. So let's create this application, and let's create, well, this module. And what we're going to do is we're going to reference, this one, the CS. We're going to get the questions and the question type. Yeah, let's just apply this. And using the scaffolding, remember that I had the expose read only to no, so I could do this. So I'm going to get the questions here, and I'm going to get, the questions list and the questions detail. Let's just put this anonymous so it doesn't create any more complexity. Let's look at the question detail form to see if everything here. So it's order, but we don't have the question type. Why don't we have the question type here? Okay, that's interesting. Oh, maybe it's because this is it because this is a label that is like this? Maybe it is. Okay, let's add here really quick. Let's add here another container. Let's add here a dropdown. Okay, on this dropdown, the variable is going to be the question type ID. The list is going to be, okay, question details. Let's get all questions, okay, type. Okay, here we go. Here we're gonna get all the question types. Okay, and we're gonna get the label, and yeah, here we go. So with this, well, we don't need a label there. I think we're ready to go. So this is anonymous. Oh, this is anonymous. So I'm just doing this really quick and dirty so I can add my values there. Okay. So let's wait for this to publish. And okay, it's deploying. Here we go. Let's go, and it's deploying. And okay, let's open this real quick. Okay. So it's opening, right? So let's add the question here. The content of the question is exactly so what kind of match did you play? Okay. Or there's going to be one and it's going to be multiple. Okay. So we're going to save this. Okay. We have now this first question. Also, what we need is to get my options, right? Because I said it's multiple options, right? So I'm going to create a new entity that's called options. Okay, and options will have, or in this case, not option, but question option. Okay, let's make this a name that it's easier to me to understand. Okay, question option. Now what I'm going to say is I want to reference the question ID, right? Because each option belongs to one question ID. So we're going to have a label for that. Okay, so the label can be, for example, the example that we're doing is mix or tournament or whatever. So let's give 100. Also, we should be able to store a value, right? Because label it's a big text, so value could be something a little bit smaller, a little bit different. Okay, so let's use this for 50, or maybe you can use 100, but the idea is for this, if necessary, to be different. And also remember, so we are going to display each one of the cards, and on this we have well, the image URL, and the image URL I want to be just plain old text, and this, let's give it, because it can be a big URL, not so much, but 500. Okay, so there's a question here: couldn't you build these screens inside the core service? Well, service itself, that's the name of the module. For a matter of architecture, following the layered canvas that we have, we are not going to put screens. So screens should be on another different layer, so in a different module. So that's why I know that for now probably could do that, but it's not the way that we are doing it by a matter of the architecture. I will then remove all of that because and probably create a really nice back office. But for now, this is just to unlock. So I now have question option. So I'm just gonna also put this exposed as public read only to know. Okay. So don't follow this practice that I'm doing. You should expose read only, yes, but I'm just doing this in order to be able to use this as a background. Okay. So let's go here to the back office. Let's just reference again the CS real quick. Okay, we already have this, and we've got question option. So let's apply this. And okay, so we're going to main flow. Let's select the entity question option, and we're going to create the screen. Okay, let's look at the question option detail. Okay, and we have got the question option here. Let's use the here on the drop down. The question. Let's use the content. It's not going to be that much of a big question. Okay, so let's just publish this, and let's take let's take a look here in the back office. Okay, so we're going to refresh the back office, and we have the question options. Okay, so we're going to create, so remember, so what kind of match did you play? So we're going to have mix. Okay, let's leave it as a mix. Okay, but and now we need an image URL. Okay, we'll do that after. Okay, so let's add a new one. It's going to be tournament. Oh, I'm going to just save here, and I'm going to have a regular game. So the value, for example, could be, you know, regular game, for example. But I want to check what I used here in terms of the values that I have for the match type. And the match type actually has regular game separate. So I'm going to use exactly this. Okay. So it's exactly as the label. Okay. And I'm going to save this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the images. Okay. The images, I'm going to upload them here. But maybe we should consider, or I should consider creating a new module that could be the module for the resources, because this will be creating, you know, more volume in this OML. And what happens is that every time that I publish this, all of this information will be uploaded. So, and it's going to increase my OML. So what I could do is, you know, if this isn't changing a lot, create one separate module for resources. At least that's something that usually we do in projects. So whenever we're publishing, we're not publishing these images over and over again inside the OML file, okay? But well, let's for now, let's keep it like this. I think probably we will need one session or an episode on front-end refactoring. So we already did the back-end refactoring. So it's going to be a good opportunity to do all of that. Nice, it's already published. So we got now here the URLs. Okay, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to add the image URL here. So for the mix, for the tournament, I think it's the next one. Yeah, here we go. And also for the regular game. Yep, here we go. Cool. So now we have all the definitions of the options that we want, okay? So now what we need to do is to start building the component, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create here a new block, okay, that I'm going to call the multiple, okay? Multiple. Okay, so the multiple, what is going to receive, it's as an input parameter, is going to receive a question ID, okay? And in the case that we have this question ID, we then need, you know, to get the corresponding options, and then with that we need to show it, okay? So let's start with that, with getting the all the options, okay? Let me come here and get all of these. Okay, I need the questions. Okay, cool. I'm gonna apply, and I'm gonna get my questions here, and I'm going to say that on my filter I want to have my question ID being the question ID that I have as an input parameter for my block. This means that whenever this query is done, we will be able to show to get what are the different options. Okay, now how are we going to show it? I think what we can use is use a component that's the gallery. Okay, and the gallery is something cool that is when you can select the number of row items depending on the device. So on phone we're going to say 2. Okay, now we can have a list, right? The list is going to be the questions, the question. Sorry, I got the question, but that's not what I want. Okay, I don't want the question by ID, right? Let me just remove this really quick. And what I want is the question options, right? Because it's a multiple option, right? So my question option, question ID is what I want to have the same as the question ID. Okay, recheck and use the data conversion function. Okay, why is this question option? Question ID is a question identifier, and my question ID, it's text. Okay, I want the question identifier. Okay, cool. Now I have my list here. That's going to be my question options. I'm just going to rename the query really quick. Okay, and now what I need to do is I'm not going to use an image here. Okay, what I'm going to use, it's the component that I built in the last session, that is the card button. Okay, so I'm gonna get a list of card buttons. So the title will be the label that we have on our question, and the image URL, it's gonna be the image URL that I have on the option. Okay. Now, what we have here is it has the card button. Remember, it has an event, so I need to handle that event. So I'm gonna handle that event, and I'm gonna get the value that was clicked. Okay, so the value that I got, remember, now this is the title, so maybe it's a good time for me to add here like the value. Okay, and what I'm going to say is that on the trigger click, I'm not gonna send the title, but I'm gonna send the value. Okay, so on this, what I'm going to do is here I'm gonna send also the value. Nice. Okay, now since I have my question ID here, what I want to do is and there's a warning for this, that is on my multiple, right, on my component, on the on parameters change. I just need to refresh this. On the parameters change, I'm just going to refresh this. Okay, now here we put this value as mandatory here, but what we can do is we might say that value, well, it's not mandatory. Well, that's actually interesting. Should we keep this as mandatory and add something here, or should we leave it as non-mandatory? Well, I would say that probably we can leave this. Oh, come on. Because we're gonna change these buttons in the future, so let's leave it as mandatory so we don't forget on other values that we use. So when we get the multiple, okay, the multiple will also, this one will have its own event. That is when you select an option. Okay, let's call this selected, and let's here also add a value. Okay, now when we click, we're going to raise the select, and the select we're going to send us the value. Cool. Now we are not using multiple yet, okay, but we're gonna do that really soon. Now something interesting that we can do is we have these buttons appearing, right, the card buttons. So let's use the animate, and what we can do is we add the animate here. Let's put the button inside the animate. This button can, just fade in on with fast, but also what we can do for the delay. So I want these buttons to appear like in a sequence. So I'm going to say that my delay, it's going to be my get question current row number, start on 0 times 150 milliseconds. So the first one will appear, then the other will appear with a delay of 150, and the last card will play with a delay of 300 milliseconds regarding the first one. So it will appear like this effect. Okay, so Before testing this, right, what we need to do is we need to come here to the register match details, and on this part here, so what we need to do is to get my questions or my current question, and show these multiple questions. Okay, so really quick, again, let's just on the register, let's create here an aggregate that's going to get my questions. Okay, so right now we just have one, so let's use this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is here I'm just gonna add the multiple choice here. The question ID will be the get questions. Okay, we will improve this. Okay, no worries, I know this could be done differently, but it's going to be selected, and when it's selected we are going to handle something, and let's just show a message with the value. Cool. So let's publish this, and if everything is correct, now what we are going to see is we're going to see those options appearing for the first question. Okay, so let's come here and let's refresh this. Okay, so I think we saw that effect. This was just on the first call, right? It's rolling. So as you can see, we could get this effect because we are delaying. So depending on the index that we have, it's appearing on the in a different time. So, and when we click, yeah, we got the mix or the tournament, and then we can do something and store this in the backend. Okay, so cool. So this is the first type of option that I want, right? I could create more questions of this type, but in order to show more progress than just this, let's create the UI component, to import or to create text answers. Okay, so here we go. Let's create a new question. Okay, a new question. So I'm going to create my question that's going to be something like, I don't know, how focused were you in each point? Okay, something like this. Let's say, well, the order, let's now put this as 1. Okay, we want to be the first one. Let's say that is text. Okay, let's just change this one for what kind of match did you play, for 2. Okay, so we're gonna change the order here, and so this will be the first question to appear now. Okay, so what we're going to do, right, is we're gonna add this. So as you see in here, I did this query and just add, the options here. So a lot of this was done really in a really bad way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this the right way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an option, a question. Okay, that I'm going to create my variable here. I'm going to say it's my current question. All right, and also the text that appear here will change, right, depending on the question that we have. So I'm also going to add a new value here that's going to be the prompt. And what I'm going to do with the prompt is that the default from the prompt is going to be like these 3 points, right? So instead of text here, now I'm going to add an expression inside the span that will be my prompt. Okay, and I'm going to delete this. Okay, so it will start like this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is so when I get the question, okay, I have the get question, Okay, I'm going to use this and I'm going to call this the get next question. Okay. Okay, the get next question will just return 1. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look. So I'm still going for the, for the question here, right? But on the filter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I want the question, which the order, right? It's the current question that I have, order plus 1. Okay, so when this starts, right, our current question, it's empty, right? Nothing exists here. So it's 0. Current question dot order is 0. So I'm gonna look for the first one. Okay. Then when I have the first question, I'm gonna ask for the second, and so on and so on. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is on after fetch, I'm going to create a new action here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set my current question to what I've got from, from my query. I'm going to set also my prompt variable to show on the UI the content of the question. Okay. Well, I could actually use even the current question, right? So I'm going to use current question dot, content. That's setting up the prompt. And now I can reuse. You remember that we have that cool animation. Okay, so let's just use this because I really like that animation. So from the home screen, I have, if you remember when we're showing the message, we were running this JavaScript to animate. Okay, so after we get this on fetch, okay, we're gonna get the animate message, and what we're going to do here is we're gonna get the message widget ID, get the size, add the animated, and well, we now don't have the show options. Okay, but we're gonna just remove the animated and the result because this needs to be asynchronous. And well, I already have the coach message ID. Okay, so let's see if this is working. So what should happen after I publish? I'm going to load the screen here and I should see the 3 points and then, changing to our focus word in each point. Okay. Now, cool. Now that I have this, I can start, working on my answer block. Okay. Okay, cool. So as you've seen on the other one, we have control variables to, to order if I want to show the message or the options, remember? So I'm going to do the same here. So I'm going to have a question, show options. Okay, it's going to be a Boolean. I'm going to create an action that's going to be show options. The show options will just basically set the show options to true. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, inside here, I'm going to just encapsulate this in an if, and I'm just going to if show options. Okay, so only if the show options is active, I'm going to show the different options that I have or the text or whatever it is. So on the after fetch, remember on the animate. So I'm gonna, all of this is to animate that text to be appearing like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna call show options from here. Okay, so when the animation ends, that's when I want, to show my options. I don't want the options to appear early on the screen. Okay, cool. Now that I have this, I can do more stuff, right? So first thing that I want to do is I got the multiple. So I'm going to enclose this again in another if. Okay, and this if, what's going to look for? It's going to look if the current question, right? If it is the question type multiple, right? Entities dot question type multiple. Okay, that's when I'm going to show it. Okay, so I'm just going to add here this this so I can understand it's multiple, I'm going to do this. And the multiple here, it's going to be my current question ID. Okay, so again, if now I would publish, it wouldn't do anything because I changed my my order here. So how focus were you in the first point is going to be the first one, and this one is of the type text. Okay, so it wouldn't show anything. That's why I need to build, you know, my component to you know to write the text. Okay, so let's start building this. Okay, now let's do another if, right? That one was for multiple. I'm gonna add an if that's gonna say if the current question type ID is text. Okay, question type text. Okay, so if it is the type text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating something here. Okay, I know I could do this inside a block, but for now let's just create here. Okay, if then, like I said, if we need to do some revamp here, I'm just gonna do it on another session for refactoring. So let's call this the answer block. Okay, and it's going to be the answer block. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another container. Oops, block. Right, another container inside this one, and in this one I'm going to call this the text answer. We're going to get the wrapper. Okay, so we have something that we can wrap everything, and I want to have a button and then an input, so a text. It's like I'm creating like the input that you use on ChatGPT, for example. Okay, so I have something around that called the block. I'm gonna have here the text answer wrapper, and now I'm gonna use inside this the text answer button. Okay, and then inside of this I'm gonna have my button. Okay, which is really nice because in this button I can remove the text. Okay, and we're not seeing it yet, but I want to remove the text, and I want to add an icon, so I can remove and I can change the content of my button. So I'm gonna use this plain, so when we send a message, right, so the font size is going to be exactly as my font size. And now my button, I want this button to be the button primary. Okay, but I want to have it border radius circle. Okay, so again, how do I know these classes? I know, and I know because of experience, but they are specified in the OutSystems UI documentation. So I have this border radius circle. Okay, so it gets me a really nice button. I'm actually just gonna double click on this button, like send message. And going back now, I still need to have my container that needs to be a sibling from my button in order to hold on to my text area. Okay, so this one is this one, text answer, and this is going to be the probably text answer input. Okay, cool. And inside of this, what we're going to have is a text area. And this text area, oops, it's here. Let's call this, I don't know, oops, not the prompt. Let's call this, the text area. Now the variable that we want is, we're going to create a new variable here. For that's going to call the answer. Okay, we're going to add that here. The max length, well, let's give it a little bit more. Okay, let's say one line to start. Okay, because I want to write, and whenever I push enter I want it to grow. Okay, we will see how to do that. And well, that's it in terms of the structure. Okay, so let me just publish this real quick. And let's see how we can style this. Okay, so let's go back here, and it should appear now, right? Okay, cool, but I don't want this to appear like this. So what I'm going to do is, well, I'm actually going to start setting up a little bit my CSS, okay? So what I want to do, my answer block, all of my answer block, you know, I want it to go down, okay? So I'm going to say that this is position absolute, okay, with, let's say, 100%. So because I want to take all of this. So I'm going to get bottom 0, okay? Well, let's see, maybe what we need is to have, let's see if we need this to be position relative. Okay, but this now, this doesn't take all the way. The main content. Okay, so I need to do something in order to get this to be in. Oh, okay, we have coach wrapper. We have answer block. And answer block needs to be answer block position absolute. It's inside this margin base. So I have this position relative, but maybe what I need, because this one has, you know, it has a really bad, so this doesn't have any height. So if we're gonna say that height, it can be, so our height, so we can do a calculation, okay? We can do 100% of my viewport height, okay? But this would be a lot. Now we know that this one is 150, right? And we also know that this one is 56, so it's 206, right? So let's just remove 206 pixels. Okay. Now, well, maybe I'm not counting with the margins. So how much margin do we have here? Let's look at the computed. It has 32. So this should be 238. Okay. Okay, cool. So we need to set up also these values there, and we will do that using classes. Okay. Now, going back to the answer block. So I've got my bottom 0. Okay, maybe what I can do is, well, let's make sure that left is 0. And, well, what I want also is to have some padding. Okay, so I'm going to use my space base. Okay, because I wanted to make it a little bit, you know, align with what we have here. And also, the bottom, I don't want to go all that down. I just want to go to the same, you know, base space. Okay, cool. So I've got my answer block. Now on the text answer wrapper, right, this is what is around that one. So it's around the 2. I'm going to say that it's a position relative, and the width is 100. Okay. Now I've got this padding. I've got this wrapper, right? Let's look at the answer button. Okay. The answer button, what I want is to have, you know, on this one I want to have this position absolute. Oops. Because I want position absolute. I want the button to overlay the text box. Okay, so I'm gonna say that bottom is 0, so it gets down. No, I'm sorry, I'm doing the button. So button needs to go right, okay? And right, I can use var space base, okay? Cool. Now, bottom, I can say that it's gonna be, well, I don't need bottom, right? It's already in the bottom. What I need is to have a, a z index. Let's give it its index so it doesn't get behind anything. On the text input, what I want to do is I'm gonna have my position absolute also. I want to have my width 100%. Okay. Well, it shouldn't be 100%, but say let's bottom 0. Well, this is always the hard part, right? So I don't have bottom here, right? Sorry. Sorry. So the bottom here, let's say var space base. Well, space base also, it's too big. Let's put extra small. Oh, so it doesn't work. Well, let's try with pixels. Let's see. 5 pixel? Well, 8 pixel. I think it's actually var space. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we have the button here inside, right? Now the wrapper, I have it here. I have my answer block, but what I'm not having is this one. Okay, this one is really big. Why is this so big? So big? Because this one has 385. Right. Where is this? Why doesn't it? Let's just give a height, just for me to check this here. It's with 100%, and this is also 100%. It has padding, not margin, and this one has position relative. Sorry, I'm just trying to get, why is this position absolute? Display block. No, inline block. No, it's not because of the display. Ooh, I'm sorry. Trying to get why this is happening here. Okay. Well, we can always solve like this, but I don't know why this. I need to check this later on. So let's just, I don't know, minus. If we do like this, well, I need to check why this is happening, because this is not the way, to do it, like just stacking here, the width. But well, we'll check later. Now, also I want to style this. Okay, the form. Okay, so I'm just gonna say that this is the on the answer block. I have my form control. Okay, I can copy this. Okay, so I just want to change this. Okay, so I'm gonna say my height. It's let's try to find the height, because we're gonna change that height dynamically. Okay, maybe is it 60? No, I think it's what's this, 58. So on the padding right, okay, because I want the text inside, you know, to have some padding that will have the size of this. So the size of this is 50. Let's give it more time, more space to breathe. Let's say padding right, let's say 65. 65. Ah, come on, 65. Okay. Now, well, background, I'm gonna say that this is going to be RGBA, right? So I want to say it's white, but with transparency. Okay, something like this. My color is gonna be var color neutral 0. That's so I want, you know, to be my white. Let's say border none. And well, font size, we can have var font size base, okay, 16 pixel. The border radius can be var border radius base, okay, and well, we don't allow to resize it, okay, so resize none, okay, cool. So this is how it will look like, right? And also the button, okay, let's add that class here. So let's just check this button. So on the answer block button, okay, we don't need all of that. So I think it's pretty easy. What I want to say is my background color, it's gonna be, you know, that RGBA, right? 255, 255, 255, dot 0.1, so transparency, right? And border none. And I think this is a cool, so this is nice, okay? So what I'm gonna get is all of that here. I'm gonna take it from here and I'm gonna add here to our CSS. I'm just gonna create a new section here for my text answer. Okay. Cool. So let's publish this. Let's see how this goes. Let's see if we see that. Okay. Okay, cool. Now we're seeing this. Oh. So we got this. Remember that answer button, wrapper. Oh, okay, there was something probably just on the preview, okay? So there's no need to have that there, okay? And when I start, I can write stuff here, right? Cool. But now what I want is, you know, I don't want this to happen, okay? So I want it, you know, to increase while I'm inputting stuff here, okay? So let's do that. Let me just first come here and just release delete this, right? This was wrong. Okay, I don't need that. Okay, cool. Now, what am I going to do? So whenever I'm showing the options, right? I have here well, it's going to show the options, okay? So I can run this JavaScript, okay? So I'm going to say that let my text area, okay, be document dot get element by ID, and I'm going to say that's the text area widget ID, okay? So I'm gonna get it that, okay? So if I found, okay, what am I going to do? So on the text area, okay, I'm gonna add the event listener of input. So on input, so whenever something is inputted there, I'm gonna run a function, okay? So I'm gonna define that function. It's gonna be something like unexpandable text area input. Okay, so I'm gonna receive the event. Oops, and I'm gonna do something with that event. Okay. Now this is what I'm gonna call here. Okay, and again, I'm just gonna, do the resolve because I want the show options to be true, so it renders the text area, and when the text area renders, I'm not gonna block the UI thread. I'm putting the resolve here, and so this will run after what. This won't run before we have the element on the screen. So the target. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna do it's a small trick to trick a little bit the browser. That is set the height of the of the text area to auto, but then I'm gonna say set the height. This will cause a repaint, and I'm gonna say I want the e dot target. So the scroll height, the amount of scroll that I need on that element, right? I'm gonna say that I want this to be the new height. So it's kind of a little trick that we can do to say that it's going to adjust to the height of the content. Okay, so let's see this in action. Okay, I need here the text area, right? Did I call it text area or something like that? Text area answer. So it's going to be text area ID. Okay, cool. So let's publish this. So what should happen is while I'm typing and adding more lines, okay, this should grow with that. So let's see if this is going to happen or not. Okay. Oh, it decreased a little bit. Yeah, we need to check why it happened. Okay, but see, it's running. Okay, and when I'm doing the delete, it's the same. Okay, but I need to see there's a difference here. I don't know how many pixels we lost. Oh, it's 52, and this in my beginning it should be 58. Okay, so let's solve this really quick. Let's add just more 6 here on the height. So and let's see how this works. Okay, here we go. So I got something. Cool. Okay. Now I have this protected, right? And what I want to do is, well, I want to, when I click, I want to send the message to the server. So I need to do that part. Okay, cool. So sorry, what I'm going to do is actually I'm just gonna, well, I have my register match details. So when I click this button, right? So what I need to do here is I'm gonna show my answer. Okay, so we can do this. So I'm going to show my answer, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the get next question. Okay, because I'm refreshing the next question, and the query is going to get, remember I had here the next question, so I'm going to get so when the first time we go, it's 0 to this query, and so it gives me the first one. So the next time I call, it's going to be the next one. Okay. So let's publish this really quick, and let's see what we get. Okay, so now here we go. So I have focused word in each point. Okay, not focused at all. Too many, lost points. Something like that. Okay, we're gonna send, and you can see that we got the message that we could store on the server. We have moved to the next question, and the next question is of this type. And when I click, I can see, the mix. Now, what I would need to do is, on my multiple selected, I also could store this on server, right? And then I could also get my next question, right? And if I do this after that, I wouldn't have anything else to show, so I needed to stop my flow. So publishing that's really quick. So let's just change the order here, because the natural order would be this one. Okay, so let's just see if this is really dynamic. It is published. So let's go here to to home, and following the flow. So I ready to improve. I'm going to register match details. What kind of match did you play? I'm going to say the mix, and after that it's going to say I'll focus in each point. I'm going to say something. I'm going to publish this to the server, or send this to the server, and then I would get the next question. Or if the idea of the next question would be no, then I wouldn't need to send anything back to, well, I need to finish here my flow. So this was just to create these two ways of interacting with these two kinds of questions. Now, the entire form will be, or the time the wizard to collect all the information will be dynamic, right? And we're gonna get some different kind of questions, right? So this is just to show the start. So it's everything that I had for today. We will keep working on this, but only after vacation. So next 2 weeks there will be no sessions, but this one, well, it will be published in YouTube, this video, and also the content in GitHub. So, well, I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't that too much of complexity, on these components, but at least I think it gives a notion on how to keep building and keep evolving the application. So thank you very much for being with us here in the session today, and hope you enjoy it, and see you soon after my vacations. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye bye.